Hello, everyone. So I'm a few minutes late. Shall we begin? Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Para Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gururadiranadircha Guru Paramadaivatam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Na Guroradikam Tattvam Na Guroradikam Tapaha Tattvajnanat Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Hari Om. Hari Om, everyone. We're now on mantra number 20. We're discussing the characteristics of a man of wisdom, man of realization. We talked about the glory of the knowledge, the glory of the man of wisdom, the glory of Nishtha. And the glory of that Nishtha is words cannot, it was Anirukte, which means words cannot describe that person. We ended at Yato Vacho Nivartante, Aprapya Manasasaha, Anando Brahmano Vidvan, Na Vibeti Kutaschaneti. The cause of fear is gone. And we continue on the same theme, mantra 20, which is also from the Taittiriya Upanishad. It's a beautiful mantra. And it's a very reflective mantra. Etagam hava vanatapati kim ahagam sadhuna karavam kim aham papam akaravam iti saya evam vidvanete atmanagaspranutte ubehye vesha ete atmanagaspranutte ya evam veda ityupanishat. Okay, what is this saying? Few things here. What are do's? What are don'ts? What are papa? What is punya? Why is it that the man of wisdom is not subject to do's, don'ts, papa, punya? It's a very important verse. So when you say papa and punya, let's start with do's and don'ts. Our whole life is subject to, from childhood onwards, what are do's, what are don'ts? Do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. From childhood onwards, we are given guidelines. And the reason for that is Of course, society has its own constitution, but the dharmic constitution, which is what is dharma and what is Brahma, we have no idea. So the idea of do's and don'ts are to guide us on the principles of dharma leading to tattva jnana. Without knowing these do's and don'ts, we cannot live a life of dharma, so forget about Brahma. Most of us, cradle to grave, simply live prompted by our own likes and dislikes and our sense of doership and enjoyership. That's it. Autobiography of a human being. I lived prompted by my likes and my dislikes and my sense of doership and enjoyership, and I died, period. No human being can claim anything different to that unless you're a man of wisdom. It's a brutal way to put it, but it's exactly the same for every human being. So the purpose of do's and don'ts are how do I live my life, not according to my impulses of my likes and dislikes, and how do I dilute my sense of doership and enjoyership. That's the life of dharma. Do's in the scriptures are known as injunctions, known as vidhi. Don'ts are known as prohibited, karmas known as nishedha. Vidhi and nishedha are the two technical terms. How do we live a life? We don't do what we are supposed to do, and we do what we are not supposed to do. Each of those leads to what is known as a papa karma. And when we do what we're supposed to do and don't do what we're not supposed to do, we get a punya. That's a punya karma leading to a punya phala. It's as simple as that. What is papa? What is punya? If we even step back and keep this in the back of your mind, what is a punya? A punya is anything which purifies your mind. And a papa is anything which pollutes your mind. If you keep this very simple, basic definition, life will be clear. So at a physical level, I may do an action which seems very, very noble. Is that a punya or a papa?
Punya.
Is it punya?
Okay. At a physical level, I do something which is a good deed, noble deed, and you say it is punya. Is that true?
Does it not depend on what's going on in the mind?
Exactly.
Because you can do something good physically, but the intention may not necessarily be a noble one at the mental level.
Exactly. What is the motive behind the action? That motive determines whether any action is punya or papa. Again, punya is that which purifies, punati. Papa is that which pollutes the mind. So any physical action that I may do, which may seem very noble, but has an intent which is not noble, that is still a papa karma. I may want to give a donation. Wonderful, punya. My motive, ulterior. I want some name, fame, so I may get some recognition here or there for some whatever cause it may be. It dilutes the effect of that punya karma. And there are millions of such examples you can think of. It's the motive which matters, not the physical action. And the simple example given is a surgeon with a knife and a murderer with a knife. Murderer chops you up, kills you. Surgeon chops you up, same action with the knife in your stomach. One's intent is to kill, the other intent is to save. So physical action does not decide the motive. It is it does not decide whether it's punya or papa. It's the motive behind. The other example we used to use is, so when you're cleaning the toilet, does that make you a janitor? Maybe. Janitor cleans the toilet for a salary. You clean the toilet in the ashram because that's your seva. Which one makes you a janitor? And which one is a higher? Which one is a lower karma? Both are exactly the same. So at the physical level, it's clear. We can see what may be noble or ignoble. But at the mental level, the motive decides whether that's punya or papa. And at the intellectual level, what determines if it is punya or papa? Anyone?
Sense of worship.
Happiness.
Sorry, who said that?
Sujan.
Divya? Dvija, you're saying?
I was going to say, at the intellectual level, you would be deciding whether it's punya or papa, so you'd be watching yourself. And you would decide, why am I doing this? And
I think Sujan said the sense of doership. I think that's the key on the head. The intellectual level decides, when you said I'm doing it, that's exactly right, which is, what is this I who's doing? If I is me, this entity, the sense of doership is strong, then the sense of enjoyership or suffering will be strong. That therefore creates more vasanas. In other words, it pollutes the mind even more, and therefore it's a papa karma. So stronger sense of doership and enjoyership leads to papa karmas at the intellectual level. Now, you say, where have we gone? We're talking one of wisdom. How do we end up here with do's and don'ts and papa and punya? Because that's what exactly the verse is talking about. And, we almost never think of our papas or punyas until we gain a certain level of maturity and a certain level of purity. Because if we are born thick-skinned, and if we die thick-skinned, then we do not see what our papa karmas are. But over time, life teaches us and gives us a certain amount of purity, and purity leads to sensitivity. So I'm able to see, how have I lived my life? What are some of the papas I have done? What are some of the punyas I have done? And those all, especially at the time of departure, one begins to reflect and think on this, and your life plays before you like a movie. And one, therefore, if a Gurudev used to say, if you don't want to become disturbed, don't study Vedanta. Because when you study Vedanta, it will lead to purity of mind, which will cause you agony and agitations as you reflect on your papas and your punyas. It will give you a certain amount of purity and sensitivity. Many remain thick-skinned till they die, and it won't bother them. Buffalo born, buffalo died, no problem. But if the buffalo evolves to something more, you will begin to think. So the previous verse said, Na bibheti kutaschaneti, the cause of fear is gone. This continues with the theme, etagam hava vana tapati. Tapati, torture, trouble, disturb. Havava actually means Avaisha put together becomes Vava. eva vaisha becomes vava. So it says etagam hava vana tapati. That to who? Saya evam vidvan ete atmana sprute. To that vidvan, to that jnani purusha, etagam, these thoughts of what? We'll talk about that. Does not disturb him. That purusha who has become a vidvan in this way, as the Upanishads have said, who knows himself as Brahman, that person, this does not disturb him. What? What does not disturb him? Kim aham papam akaravam iti. Kim aham papam akaravam iti. Well, before that, Kim aham sadhu na karavam. Why did I not do good things? Why did I not do punya karmas? There was a poor man sitting there, hungry. I could have fed him. Why didn't I feed him? There was someone, a widow who needed help. I could have helped. Why didn't I help? Funds were needed at the right time by somebody, some institution. I was not there. When I could have been there. Opportunities for satsang were there. I did not go. I did something else.
I think, Suresh, I think this is our day-to-day life, I think we want to help, we can't help, A lot of things, we can think like, we have to go, time commitment sometimes. And sometimes, we are helpless, we want to do, we can't do, like in India, something happens, I don't know, it's difficult to describe actually. But mentally, yeah, this agitation goes on when you see all this happens.
Yeah.
Is it,
Sorry?
is the same question, Suresh, what I was saying, that, a lot of things why we can't do? Is that what you are asking about? Is it?
I didn't understand the question actually.
No, I'm saying that the question here is etagam hava vanatapati. Havai eva hava. Certainly, indeed, etagam, these thoughts, natapati, they do not disturb a man of wisdom. But you and I, it disturbs. Regrets of the past. Why is that? Kim aham sadhu na karavam. Sadhu good. Kim, why? Na, did not. Akaravam, do. Why did I not do good things? Why did I not do punya karmas? I had great opportunities. Why did I not take those opportunities? That disturbs our mind. To the extent that you've purified your mind, it will disturb you. If your mind is not disturbed, you're still a buffalo. Or you've not committed any papa.
Maybe he has
Ignorant.
transcended himself above all, so there's no thinking, nothing.
No,
Exactly. That's the idea, which we'll come to. But the idea is for us to reflect before we go to the man of wisdom. Why did I not do any good deeds?
Because of ignorance, Surajji, if you look at 20-25 years ago, we are not aware of what is Vedic or, if I've started only last 20 years maybe. Before that, I was not, I was ignorant basically.
That's exactly the point. We were all ignorant.
Ignorant. Yeah.
We were all ignorant. But there's ignorance and there's purity, which also, to get purity, it's not just ignorance. It is almost knowledge imbibed becomes purity. And I would argue purity actually comes from grace and only grace. Because even purity we cannot earn. I can study all the Upanishads in the world and yet not have purity. So purity comes from, it's a prasad. It's the ultimate prasad. In fact, it's the only prasad one should ask for when one prays. Purity of mind. So the question again he has here is Kim aham sadhuna karavam. These tapati, these thoughts which disturb, persecute, torture man is, why did I not do good deeds? Second question which tortures us is Kim aham papam akaravam iti. Why did I do papa karmas? I knew it was bad and yet I did it. And I see all my good and especially my bad karmas as a movie, especially as you grow older and as you gain more purity, it all comes back to haunt you. Gurudev saying man is not punished for his sins, but by his sins. There is no cause effect. It happens. So you begin to see your whole, and you get, as you begin to fear Naraka. Will I go to Naraka? Yes, you will go to Naraka if the papas have been too many. So these are bhaya karanas, which is causes of fear in our life. Papas and the punyas I have committed. And as my mind becomes more sensitive, why did I not do punya karmas? And why did I do papa karmas? Now it's saying the man of wisdom, na bibheti kutaschaneti. The cause of his fear is gone. Now, does that mean the man of wisdom is so thick-skinned or so ignorant? Only two reasons why these thoughts of papa and punya will not disturb you. Either you're too ignorant or you're too thick-skinned. Well, he can't be ignorant because he's gained the knowledge, and he cannot be thick-skinned because his mind is pure. But it says, na bibheti kutaschaneti, and it says, this does not disturb the man of wisdom. Saya evam vidvanete atmanam sprunute. He is established in this truth. So this atmanaga sprunute, he uses this papa and punya to abide further in this knowledge, to increase his nishtha. We were talking about abidance. So what does that mean? He uses both of these because it says ubhe both. He uses both ete to abide in this nishtha, to increase his nishtha in this knowledge. Now, he begins to see both papas and punyas as his own self. Now, let's discuss why he cannot be ignorant or thick-skinned.
I think with the knowledge, he probably realizes I'm an instrument of God and this is what God has made me do. It's not me. It is my Atma is pure. Maybe that's why he kind of feels that he's not affecting him, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, effectively, you could say that. So if you take this purity of mind level, where is this man of wisdom? At a sadhaka level, what has he gone through? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, Sadhana Chatushtaya. He's gone through Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampati, Mumukshutvam. Through Karma Yoga primarily, he has already attained a purity of mind, which means he's given up his raga, dvesha, papa, punya karmas to a great extent. At the Karma Yoga level. At the Karma Yoga level, where you and I are, he's purified his mind to a great extent. Atmabodh, tapobi sheena papanam. Through tapas, sheena, he's sheena, thinned out, papa, his papas. Shantanam vitaraginam. To some extent, he has quietened his mind. And vitaraginam, and has reduced his likes and dislikes. Mumukshu nam apekshayam. So he's become a mumukshu, which is how this text began. So at a physical level, karma yoga level, he's attained a certain degree of purity. Secondly, he's now gone through the Jnana Yoga. At Jnana Yoga level, what is he saying? I am not this jiva. So if at a Jnana Yoga level, I am not this jiva, then it means the locus of those papa and punya has disappeared. There is no more kartatva, no more doership at the intellectual level. There is no more enjoyership, bhoktrutva at the intellectual level. I think the book says the word is punya papa vivarjita pantaha. He's walking this path which is devoid of papas and punyas. So at the karma yoga level, he's achieved a level of purity. At the jnana yoga level, there is no aham bhava left. Therefore, there cannot be any karma phalas to attribute to any karmas that this person does, because there is no sense of identity. There's no doership. So when he reflects on his life, and those papas, karmas that he had done comes before him, you and I, tapati, disturbs us. To him, he's aware of it, but no longer has ownership of it, including any karmas that he continues to do, because the aham bhava is gone. So when it says, this does not disturb a man of wisdom, it's not because he's ignorant or thick-skinned like you and I. It's because his mind is so pure and he has no more sense of doership. The locus of the papas and the punyas have nowhere to attach themselves to. So when he sees both papas and punyas as his own self, which is what that atmanagas prunate means, he sees both the papas and punyas as his own self. This is his process of nishtha, of gaining abidance in this knowledge. To what extent does these thoughts of papas and punyas continue to tapati, disturb, haunt, persecute this individual? And that's all the process of nishtha we were talking about. We'll give some examples. I'm going to pause there. Are there any questions?
I was going to say that when you talked of regrets of past actions, it's like an empty regret. It's water under the bridge, it's been done. If you feel you've done wrong, then you make sure next time you don't do it. But you don't have the regret, why did I do it, or why did I know? That tapati, that disturbance shouldn't be there. You acknowledge you've done something, and okay, next time I won't do it, or go and make amends for whatever you've done. But I think what I'm hearing from you now is that it's the aham bhav. So you don't even say, okay, what I did was wrong, I'll go and make amends, because you're still involving doership. Is that right?
An excellent point, Amma.
Sorry, I'm confused.
That's an excellent point.
Mm.
So here's a question. When we get a disease in our body, whatever it may be, what is our reaction?
Usually, why me? And then next question is what can I do to get rid of it?
Okay. What is our relationship with it?
Because I'm involved, I'm saying I have got the disease. To be able to say the body has got the disease, it will go in time. Either the body will go or the disease will go. But the acceptance.
Excellent, Amma. Roshni, you've been around Guruji. He's discussed this explicitly. Do you remember? When a disease comes, what do you do?
I wasn't there. Yeah.
No, Roshni.
Oh,
I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to, but
Sorry to put you on the spot. But
no, that's okay.
he would say, never say, I hate my disease.
yes. I agree.
When a disease comes, you say, welcome, like any guest. Please stay and go. What happens is you're now, that gives you a sense of acceptance. A, you can do nothing about it. B, of course, you treat it as best as you can. But if you really believe that you are this body, then the disease has to be yours too. You have to take ownership. And if you're not this body, then the disease is just a guest. It came, it goes. Do not hate the disease. Do not look upon it with hatred. That's the nishtha. You look upon even that as your own self. Why do you have to do that? Because if you take that attitude, bhaya goes away. Fear goes away. And we're trying to remove the cause of fear. Cause of fear was, I am this body, I've got a disease, disease will damage my body, fear. I am not this body, disease has come, welcome, if it stays fine, if it goes fine, fear is gone. Na bibheti kutaschaneti, to remove the cause of fear. That's the nishtha of a man of wisdom. When disease comes, how does he respond? And those like Ramana Maharshi, cancer, they were operating on him without what's the word used?
Anesthetic.
Anesthetic, and he just sat there and they chopped his arm, whatever they had to they do, and he was just in his own world. That's called nishtha, strengthening the abidance. So that's a beautiful implication of this nishtha at an empirical level. When papas and punyas come, when diseases come, how do you treat? How do you react to that? So this atmadaggas prunate means he looks at both papas and punyas as his own self. Now, not the actual action, but the effect of it. The effect of it is basically a joy and a sorrow, which is why a man of wisdom is equanimous, because he takes all as his own self. Another thought here. The man of wisdom, he also knows that from a devotional standpoint, God is most forgiving and his grace is infinite. It is said that the name of the Lord and the grace of the Lord is so great that it can erase any amount of papa that one does. In fact, it says, no one can commit so much papa that his grace cannot wipe out. No one can commit, his grace is so much that no one can commit so much papa. So what is the message there? The name of the Lord and his grace is what will remove our papa karmas. by giving us purity of mind. And with that purity of mind will come an awareness, an acceptance, a diminished lack of doership and enjoyership, reduction in vasanas, more purity, and we begin to see both as our own self. That's the nishtha, which is therefore a process. Sukashtakam has a beautiful, I think I've said this before a few times here, Nistrei Gunye Pati Vicharatara Ko Vidhi Ko Nishedaha, which is for the master who is abiding in the self, he's beyond the three gunas, Nistrei Gunye. Ko Vidhi Ko Nisheda. Where are the do's and the don'ts for that master, which for you and I are to give us the path of dharma leading to Brahma, so that we do not do papas and we do punyas. For realized master, there is no such thing. Mind has become so pure and one with Brahman that neither papa nor punyas disturbs the man of wisdom. Any thoughts? There'll be another take on this, which I'll pause here.
I think Sureshji, it's easy. I don't know. It's very difficult to accept when somebody is going through so much suffering, taking everything as Ishwar Prasada Buddhi or in a positive sense. I know reading all this, getting the knowledge is one stage, I think. But to become a realized master and to accept things and go with it as we are not this body, we are not, I think it is difficult. Sorry, I think it's just because I'm seeing my sister go through so much suffering. Sometimes we question why so much suffering for a person. My younger sister actually is a wheel-bound chair and she is going through a lot of hell. But really, I don't know how to help her also.
What you're saying is extremely valid, and no one said it's easy. This is a theory, which is and not a hypothesis, because a theory is a proven entity. So we have two choices. Either we purify our minds to help us cope. What is the option? What is the option? We don't accept. We can do nothing about the suffering either of ourselves or someone else. And we torture our minds even more in questioning why me and how do I deal with it. The coping mechanism of this, even if you forget spirituality, forget Brahman, just at a psychological level, this provides a basis for coping with the worldly problems in our lives. And all problems from a worldly life can really only be, I have solved is one thing, but can be diminished only but from a spiritual standpoint. And you go even to this Alcoholics Anonymous, all these workshops, they dance around spirituality, yourself, God. They won't use those words. But at the end of the day, it'll all come down to that very same one entity. Center yourself. You are not the body. Take charge of your life. Accept what you can. So even from a psychological perspective, this is a beautiful teaching which helps us to cope with the inevitable papa karmas, punya karmas, which will come to us, to our loved ones. And they don't come to, even if they come to our loved ones, it's coming to us really. So it gives us a way of coping.
Thank you.
Do the punyas, I feel like they have a way of binding you even more, because with the papa, I mean, I wouldn't take any of my suffering away. I don't regret it, because that's what woke me, that's what wakes you. Do the punyas have a more subtle way of binding you? Because a golden chain still a chain?
It's a very good point you make. Now, when you look at your papa karmas and papa phalams as a wake-up call, that's an immense blessing. Because the Lord will never give anyone more than their allotted measure of suffering. And the idea of suffering is one and only one. Uddharet atmanatmanam. Wakey, wakey. Uttishtata jagrata. There is only one purpose. And you said punya. I'll come to that. If you are doing his work selflessly, it is his job to make sure that he takes care of you. Let's rephrase that. You tell the Lord, it is in your interest to take care of me. I am doing your work. You don't want me to do your work? Give me suffering. You want me to do your work? Make sure I am healthy and I can work for you. Simple. Gurudev, I was with Guruji just 2 weeks ago, and he made a very powerful statement. We were talking about CVV, we need X amount of funds, blah, blah, blah. I said, how are we going to raise it, blah, blah. I was with the VC, I said, so what is our funding requirement for the next year? Because we're going to massive deficits, ungodly numbers. He calmly sat there. And he said, you asked me what is the funding requirement. My answer is simple. Infinite. हमारा गुरु भंडार है. Gurudev will provide. But he needs thousands of hands to work. He needs to know through whose hands should he contribute. The problem is the theli which we have is so small and so weak that when he puts, it breaks and goes right through. So it boils down to an unshakable faith in the word of the scriptures, the word of the Guru, who are
Yes.
living this truth.
Yes.
And that unshakable faith, when it becomes unshakable, one will see miracles in their lives. Where it becomes easy, I always said in the past, previous shlokas, the greatest blessing is when you have a conducive situation to study Vedanta. That's a great blessing. Your life has been made conducive, so you can dedicate some time to your sadhana. That's a blessing. But if that time is given to you, and what do we use it for? Holiday here, holiday there, party here, party there. And then there's no time to give back to the one who gave you the capacity, the time, the ability to serve him. He withdraws that privilege. Now, when you say punya karmas can bind you absolutely. Absolutely. Name, fame, spiritual karmas can bind you even more than material karmas, because I gain a certain amount of physical status, mental attachments, intellectual, I am somebody, I did this. And you see it all over the mission, even in our own mission. Within 5 minutes, I can identify people and I stay away from them, even at the highest levels. To what extent is there a sense of doership? It's me, me, me. Boom. Beginning of their fall. So that's why it's called a razor's edge as we walk this path. At the intellectual level, dilute the sense of doership and enjoyership. At the mental level, dilute the sense of attachments and kamanas. At the physical level, dilute the papa karmas. I forget, there was something else I wanted to talk about. went off on a tangent. Forget. Yeah, I went blank there. Any other thoughts? Yes, it came back to me. Anyway, any other thoughts? So if we take this back a few shlokas, the cause of fear, there were three causes of fear. Avidya, which is ignorance. Avidya leads to kama. Kama leads to karma. AKK, you remember that. Avidya, kama, karma, also known as? Anyone? We did this three shlokas.
Desire prompted activity.
Sorry?
Desire prompted activity.
Yes, what's the technical term we used for avidya, kama, karma? I'm giving you a hint. Not.
Grantha.
Hridaya Grantha. And it's three shlokas ago said the glory of the knowledge is Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. Knots are broken. Chidyante Sarva Samshaya. Doubts are gone. Shiyante Chasya Karmani. All karmas are wiped out. Tasmin Drishte Paravare. On seeing that truth. Avidya, ignorance is gone. Because he's Brahmavid, Brahmaiva Bhavati, he's got that knowledge of Brahman. With that, kama is gone because the knowledge is I am full. If I am full, kama is a desire which is prompted as a result of a sense of incompleteness. When I am full, there is no desire to be complete. Desire comes because I am incomplete and I want something, and then fear comes, what if I get it and then I lose it? Here, I'm complete. I desire nothing. If I desire nothing, there's no fear of losing anything that I do not desire in the first place. Therefore, karma is gone. If karma is gone, then karma is usually kamana prompted karma. If there's no kamana, whatever karmas are done cannot be prompted by kamana. It is prompted by simply, it's a karma which is desireless. Egocentric, desireless, prompted activity, which is function of Narayana himself. So avidya is gone, kama is gone. That's why he's known as the technical term akama hataha. Karma is gone because the karta is gone. The sense of doership at the intellectual level, there is no doer. The locus is gone. Akarta, kama hataha, brahmavid. Three things. Avidya, kama, karma are gone. Therefore, saya evam vidvaneti atmanagam sprunute, which is he uses both the papa and he views both papa and punya as his own self, as a means to gain nishtha, to strengthen his knowledge and abidance in this truth. One more thought I will want to mention. I better write it down now. Forget it. It's my pen. If we have time, I'll discuss this one more point. This state of mind of the realized master is what is known as Sarvatma Bhava. This Bhava of oneness. Sarvatma Bhava. Bhagavad Gita also says, Madatma Sarva Bhutatma. The self in me is the self in all beings. Ya evam Veda, it continues. Ya evam Veda. One who knows, Veda doesn't mean Vedas. One who knows this as such, as the way it's been described, as the way it's been indicated by the Upanishads, is liberated. One who doesn't, Punnarapi Jananam, Punnarapi Maranam. We keep getting born and die. Iti Upanishad. This is from the Taittiriya Upanishad. Iti. This is the Upanishad. Among all Vidyas in the world, Kaivalya Upanishad calls this the highest of all knowledges. Brahma Vidyam Varishtham. Varishtham, the most exalted, the greatest of all these. Paramarahasya, it is known as the highest secret, most exalted secret. Mundaka Upanishad calls it the all knowledges emanate from this. It's a substratum, subpratishtam of all other knowledges. Brahma Vidya, Sarva Vidya, Pratishtam. Bhagavad Gita, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Amongst all the Vidyas, Lord Krishna says, I am Adhyatma Vidya, I am spiritual knowledge. I think the message here is we are so fortunate, so blessed that A. Shankaracharya first composed all these. Gurudev used that as the basis to bring it to us in English. Guruji has taken that a step further to bring it down to all of us to our level. Swamiji is continuing that tradition. Our Guru Shishya Parampara at our doorstep is the greatest blessing we have in our lives, which I think very few people, and that is a secret. The Chinmaya mission is a secret. The greatest secret is we have the greatest and most glorious Guru Parampara of our living generation at our doorstep, at our beck and call. We are still blind. All of us, we are blind. We are deaf. All of us. But that is the greatest secret. There's one more thought I wanted to leave you, which in the satsang 2 weeks ago, some lady from New Zealand asked Guruji this question that, and I hope I've not said it in this class already because I love the story. She said, when I do japa in the morning, my mind is very disturbed. My thoughts are everywhere. Have I said this story in class before? I don't want to bore you repeating.
No, please carry on.
So she said, my thoughts are everywhere when I do japa. It's very hard to do japa. So should I stop? What shall I do? Very lovingly, Guruji said, because your mind is everywhere, you need to do japa. If your mind was single pointed and right here, stop doing japa. The purpose of japa is for people whose minds are totally distracted, is to make it single pointed. So continue. And jokingly, he said, when I sit before my Krishna every morning in my altar, the Lord is smiling at me because he knows my mind is everywhere. It's in all the projects of the mission, and then he comes back and he's laughing and I'm laughing, and that's how we end our session. There were 2 messages in there. And I remember when I was in Uttarkashi once, I came down and I said, Guruji, today japa was very poor because I know I had to come and set up the mics for this, so I couldn't. He said, that's okay. Your mind was in seva. It's okay. I didn't understand then what he meant. The bigger picture of what he was saying is, where are your thoughts? And he continued, everybody creates their own little universe. And they live in that universe. Everybody has their own little world. And they live in that world. At the time you're doing japa, where will your mind go? Only in that world. Your mind will not be debating, will Trump and the Ayatollah sign a contract? No. Your mind will be where your world that you have created remains. So create a world worthy for your thoughts to dabble in, to delve into. If it's seva projects of CM, good. Let it be there. If let it evolve towards bhakti, let it evolve towards the altar, and slowly, through the sattvic environment in which it's there, it becomes single-pointed. Why do they say from childhood, place the pictures of the Lord in every house, on every wall? So the child sees that. That becomes an impression on the mind. The world is simply a forum for me to purify my thoughts and develop concentration. What is the world each of us has created for ourselves is exactly where our minds will be, our thoughts will be during japa. Enough random thoughts. I'm done for today. So over to you. Any questions? Ideas? I'd love to hear from you.
More just I kind of appreciated the fact that actually when doing japa, it's not just me that has mind going to the outer world, and actually a lot of the time it is Sarah related. So I like that reassurance that actually the world you've created kind of affects your mind, and actually it's your choice to create that world. And if it's one of seva or bhakti, then actually it's more sattvic than wherever else the mind will tend to run towards. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I use that as a crutch all the time, Ekta. So I'm with you. Wow, we've reached mantra number 21, which is a phenomenal mantra. This is one we all have to memorize. In fact, everyone, can you memorize this? We can chant it together next week. Because as Guruji says, when you realize, you must know what to do. And this is the song we'll all sing together. Krishna, you're very quiet, invisible. Any thoughts, anyone?
Suresh, it's not a question, but the discussion probably 20 minutes ago about how difficulties in life affect us. It's quite interesting because it's been coming up a lot for me recently in terms of the different classes that I'm in and so on. And there's a comment that well, firstly, it's quite clear that in a lot of cases, we kind of worse than the situation that's happening in front of us is the kind of self-victimization and the self kind of pity and all of that kind of takes us and binds us, which yes, once we let go of karta bhava and bhokta bhava, doership and enjoyership, then you can see how you could be free of it. But I was listening to one of the talks that Sri Peji did for CM75, and she picked on this in the Bhagavad Gita, they use lots of different names to describe the same person. So one of the names for Arjuna is Kaunteya, meaning son of Kunti. Now, why is that significant? Because she said, well, who is Kunti? And if you look at the story of Kunti through the Mahabharata, she's been through immense suffering. all the way through, losing a husband, raising these kids, being thrown out of palace, into exile, whatever. And apparently, at the end of the war, she said to Krishna, "May I have more suffering in my life so that I can remain devoted to you." And Arjuna, who was going through what Gurudev has kindly given us as the Arjuna disease, is going through exactly the kind of self-pity that we all kind of identify with. And yet, and this is how Krishna is reminding him to say that actually you're the son of Kunti, and you should kind of, basically elevate yourself without giving a big lecture about it. Just saying the word Kaunteya elevates you. So I thought, and this, there was Vijayaji was in our class as well, when we were doing Bhaja Govindam. There's this story that Swami Swarupananda relayed about how the devil could only influence someone when that person is in apparent success. Otherwise the devil tried and tried and tried. Do you remember this, Vijayaji? Tried and tried, to attack this poor farmer, and the farmer was just laughed and laughed more. But the moment the farmer was brought into riches, then his downfall was very, very easy. It's a great story. I can share it with you. Swamiji does it in a 5-minute spiel. So anyway, it's really interesting how we can offer gratitude for difficulties in our lives, and when now those kind of so-called bad karmas are fructifying right now, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts? It's a beautiful verse.
And actually, one more thing. So when you talk about this next verse, this is we've heard Guruji say this before, even in talks, right? This is the what he called as, he called as the song of the sannyasi.
Song of realization.
Is that the one? Okay. Wow, I didn't realize it's such a big verse. Yeah, exactly. Wow, I didn't realize this is where it comes from. Okay.
Yeah, that's from the Taittiriya Upanishad as well. Okay, so we will end there. Ekagam havavana tapati kim ahagam sadhuna karavam kim aham papam akaravam iti saya evam vidvanete atmanagas prunate ubehye vesha ete atmanagas prunate ya evam veda ityu Upanishad. Let's chant the Bhagavad Gita. Who wants to do shloka number 1? Sunitaji. 2. 2. 2.
I can do it.
Everly. 2. 3. Sunitaji. Yes. 4. Ekta. 5.
I'll do 5.
Excellent. Okay, let's go.
उद्धरे आत्मनात्मनं न आत्मनम् अवश्चाद्यये आत्मैवस्य आत्मनो बन्धुर् आत्मैव रिपुरात्मना
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भो मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोषि ददासि यत् यत्तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्पुरुष्व मदर्पणम्
अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्यभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchah.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much. I will see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om.